Hey everyone, in this video I want to do a review on my Buck Stove Model 91. Alright guys, this is my Buck Stove Model 91. It has a catalytic combustor in it. The Model 94 is your traditional stove. The 91 has a catalytic combustor, and it works as the same principle as a catalytic converter on the car. It's made out of ceramic, it's a honeycomb. And how it works is the heat and the smoke go through the honeycombs of the catalytic combustor, and it gets really hot. Okay, it gets so hot that it reburns the smoke, and basically you end up with a smokeless fire, basically, and out of the chimney you won't have any smoke. And also, from what I've been told from the people where we bought it from, is you burn a third less wood, which is a good money saving right there. All right, I got their brochure here and a few of the basic things that you should know. Okay, the heating capacity is anywhere from 18 to 3,200 square foot home. Our house is 26 something, I don't remember, just under 2,700 square foot. And we've had this going already, and believe you me, it got hot in here. It got real hot. But if your house is anywhere between 1,800 and 32 square feet, this is perfect. The BTU output is up to 51,200. The firebox, the volume of the firebox in here is 4.4 cubic feet. If you were to put a hearth pad on here, it would have to be 50 inches wide by 54 inches deep. It's got an ash pan. It's got a blower on this thing. So once this thing gets nice and toasty, you can set it on manual or automatic, and the heat gets channeled in between the firebox and the outside here and comes out of the front here. You got some openings over here, and it comes out of here, and man, it kicks out some heat. And this unit here has an 8-inch flue size, okay, so which is nice. And the EPA efficiency is up to 86%, and you don't want to put this in a prefab house or mobile home or anything like that. It's not approved for that. And the weight on this thing, if you haven't watched the installation video I did, it's 620 pounds. It's heavy. It's made, from what I can see, it's like a 1/4-inch plate all the way around. But how this works is pretty cool. It's a fireplace. It's got the firebox, and it's a box within a box. Okay, so you got your fireplace box inside, and then you got this 1/4-inch plate on top, and you have this opening on the top and on the sides here and all the way around it. And what it does is, once this gets heated up, it draws air from the back, I'm assuming, and blows it in between that space and blows it out the front here. And man, it kicks out some heat. So that's basically it on the specifications here. But what we're going to do, I'm going to start a fire in it, and I'm going to show you how it starts and how well it works, and some of the controls and things like that on the stove. All right, some of the controls on this stove here, you have your primary air draft is here. This is where the air gets sucked in from under here and into the firebox, okay? And you got this lever that you pull out right here, and you got one on this side too. Okay, this is the primary here, and this, they call it a shotgun. But when you start a fire, you want these open on this side and on this side. All right, this here is your damper control, when you pull it out, it's open, so all the heat can come out up to in the flue. And we want that open when we start the fire. Then you have a thermostat here, and this takes the temperature of the, I don't know if it actually takes the temperature of the catalytic combustor or just prior to it, but it tells you the heat, that's what's going on in there. Now, inside the firebox here, the dimensions are the inside here, because this stove is kind of tapered. Okay, it's wide in the front and it tapers back, but it's 23 inches on the inside and it goes down to about 18 inches out in the back there across. Okay. The best type of firewood lengthwise, I would use something around 18 inches to put it in there. It's 22 inches deep, but that's almost up to the door here. Okay, so I would try to get wood that's around 18 inches or less. And it'll fit in there real nice, because I mean, you don't want really long logs in there. And right in the front here, this is where your air inlet, where your air comes in from underneath here. So when I open these primary air drafts here, the air goes up through here and into your firebox, and it feeds your flame. And again, you can control it here, which is really cool. Okay. And how to start a fire on a catalytic type stove. What you need to do is, start your fire like you normally would. So you open your primary air drafts, you open your damper up, and you start your fire. And close the door and let it get going, right? So once the temperature here reaches 600 degrees, what you do then is you want to close your damper here. It's really it's a bypass. You close the main damper and it bypasses it, and it shoots all the heat and smoke that's in your firebox through the catalytic combustor. Okay, and then that's where it does its magic. It heats up and it reburns the smoke, and like I said, you have basically a smokeless fire going on. There's no smoke outside. So what we'll do now is I'll start a fire, get a fire going, and I'll show you the procedures. All right, now we're going to start a fire. Now before you start, underneath the stove here is this little opening, okay? And you're going to see a little knob here and a switch, okay? This switch here is for your blower control. And what you want is the up position there is automatic, the center position is off, and the lower position is on, okay? So what we want is the upper position automatic, and then this here is a rheostat. Okay, when you click it, you hit click, it turns the fan on, and then on high actually, and then you can turn it to low, which is right here. So if I put this on, not enough light here. If I put this on position and turn the rheostat, okay, now I start kicking air and I can control it. Put it on low. But since when you're going to start a fire, what you want to do is put this on the up position where it says automatic. It's written automatic. You can't see, it's kind of dark. But you put it on automatic and you turn this on. Now I just put it on low. And once this box, the firebox gets nice and hot, the thermostat will automatically kick on and it'll start kicking heat out of here. And then on this side of the stove, you got another opening here, and this is where your ashtray is. If you want to use it, I haven't used it yet, but that little opening on the top, you put all your ashes down in there, they fall into that tray. You pull that out and you put it into a metal bucket, and that's how you clean that up. All right, so to start a fire, what you want is open the side drafts here. This lets the air in through the bottom and into the firebox on both sides, here and here. Make sure the damper bypass is open, so you got a straight shot up the flue, okay? This does have a clean out here for your ashes, but honestly, I don't use it. What I have, just use the, pick up one of these and just go in there like this, and it comes right out. Get yourself an ash pail or something, a metal pail, and you know, dump it in there. Okay, we're gonna start a fire now. So again, open your primary drafts here. The switch is on automatic and the rheostat is on. I just put it on low. And the damper here is, the bypass is open. So we're gonna get our kindling. Now for kindling, you know, I just use stuff around my garage. I had a crate that I had my post hole digger delivered. I have a video on that post hole digger too. That crate was nice and dry. It was like pine, but it's nice and dry wood. I just cut it all up into kindling. It was perfect. So, anyways, we're going to set up some wood in there. Now, as far as paper, what I like to use, especially this time of the year, we're in December now, you're going to get all kinds of advertisement junk mail, okay? You got all the flyers, all the sales going on. Just grab those, twist them up, and put them in there. You know, stuff you've printed out, you know, from your printer that you don't need anymore. Just get those and, you know, throw them in there. Just get it and twist it up like that. Throw them in there. You know, you can use paper from stuff you've printed out and you don't need anymore. Throw that in there too. And then what I like to do is put my paper at the bottom and then start stacking my kindling kind of crisscross, you know. So it'll get air in there, and then like we can put the wood right on top. You know, and there's tons of ways of doing this. There's no exact way. You just want to start a fire. Now it's probably best to start with not your biggest logs to put on there, but something mediocre. I really don't have anything super small or mediocre, but we'll put something like that in there. Let's see, what else do I got here? There's one thing I do need to tell you, and goes for any stove basically. Your first couple of fires, 2 or 3 fires, don't build a big roaring fire, okay? Because what happens is the stove gets too hot and you can actually peel the paint or damage it. So they tell you to make a few smaller ones. Don't let it get too hot. After that, the paint will be cured and you'll be good to go. So now we're going to let this go, and once this temperature reaches about 600 degrees, I'm going to close this damper up here, or actually bypass it, have it go through the catalytic converter. There's one thing I want to add also is when you're starting your fire for the very first time, when it's cold, and it's really cold outside, you may feel a draft coming down your chimney and in through your fireplace. And so when you start the fire, you're going to get some of the smoke into your house. To fix that, what you can do is put some newspaper in there and get that going, and close the door, of course. And what that'll do is that fire will heat up the flue here, the chimney pipe, and it'll reverse it, and all the heat will start coming up. You'll start getting a draft. Okay, so I just wanted to add that. But right now we're just trying to get this box heated up to where this reaches 600 degrees. It takes anywhere from, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes. All right, I'm gonna stick some more wood in there. And when you open this door, open it very slowly because it's gonna start sucking in air and that flame's gonna intensify, okay? So be very careful. All right, our stove has reached 600 degrees, and I'll see if I can zoom in on this for you. There it is, 600 degrees right there. So now what we're going to do is close the bypass. We want to close this. And now, all the heat from that firebox, rather than going straight up the chimney, it's going through the catalytic combustor and then up the chimney. Okay, and as you can see now, our temperature is about 850, and it's climbing, getting closer to 900 now. Ideally, you know, you want to keep this thing around 1,000, 1,200, right in that range. And you can control that with the main air drafts. You know, if your fire's getting too big, just close it a little bit. And you don't want to get the stove too hot. Because from what I've read, if you get it too hot, you know, up into the 1800 degree range, you could damage the ceramic combustor. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to build big roaring fires. Trust me, you don't need to. And these, as long as you got a little fire going like this, everything's glowing like it is. This sucker's putting out some heat. The last time I had this on, it got almost unbearable in here. It was just too hot. And again, you can control that with your the air inlet and the fan, of course. If it gets too hot, you just turn the fan off. So right now the temperature is just over 1,000 degrees, probably 1,100. I like keeping it around there. Believe me, this sucker's kicking out some heat right now. In fact, it's kind of getting too hot. Like any stove, it's going to heat the room that it's in. So if it's in your living room, most likely it'll just heat the living room and your kitchen if it's, you know, connected close. The rest of our the bedrooms and things like that, you know, there's small doorways. The heat's not going to be able to reach that. In an emergency, you know, you still got heat. Although if your power goes out, you won't be able to use the blower, but that's okay because then it'll work like any other stove will pretty much, you know, just it'll get so hot you really can't touch it. And heat up the room. It's just that with the blower, it's quicker, it's more efficient. So yeah, it's a nice stove. It's almost overkill for our house, actually. We probably didn't need to go with a stove this big, but it's nice to know that it'll really heat this area very quick. So yeah, it's a good stove. Really kicks out the heat, and I would highly recommend it. All right, at this point, the stove is at about 1200 degrees, and that's what the burn should look like on the wood. That's plenty hot. You might get tempted to put more wood in there right now, but I wouldn't. I'd let this go for a little bit longer, and then you can start adding more wood. But that's basically a normal burn. You won't see too much flames, very little, and it really produces a lot of heat. All right, so the fire's been going for a while now, maybe an hour and a half or so. We're at about 1200 degrees, and at this point, I might stick another log in there. But it's plenty hot. Now, whenever you stick a log in there, and you know, to refuel, you want to turn off the blower. Okay, and then you want to open this slowly, because when you open that, you're going to get a big rush of air going in there, and you're going to feed that fire. Maybe I'll stick one more smaller one in there. There. And those will catch on fire soon. You can open your main air draft a little more, and that'll catch fire real quick. In fact, it's starting right now. And of course, you can turn your blower back on, put it on automatic. Now once those logs catch pretty good, I'm going to lower the main air draft to low again. That way I'll get a good slow burn out of it. And now we can start closing our air draft. I just put it on low. Now at this point, it looks like the fire is going out and the stove is cooling down. It really isn't. Let me show you. If I open the main air draft on here, all the way, and this other one here, you're going to get that rush of air going in there, and this thing's going to ignite really quick. But of course, it doesn't make sense. You're wasting the wood, actually. It's going to burn too quickly. So, turn this one off, or close it I should say. And then we're going to put this back on low. You just want a nice small flame because everything is glowing red. This thing, I can't even begin to explain to you how much heat this is kicking out. It's starting to get uncomfortable in here actually. But yeah, this really kicks out the heat. And of course, if it gets too hot in here, you got an option. You can turn the fan off, get the fire even smaller. But you don't need a lot of wood. You don't need a big roaring fire to heat up your, the part of the house where the stove's at. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.